Start the recording. So, hey, everybody. I am glad you guys made it. This is our Sunday night team call. My name is Kendall Boyd. And for those of you who are here in town, I'm glad you guys were able to get on. I know it's a holiday weekend starting this crazy week for all of us. I am really excited that you guys were here. So tonight we have a girl that I have been following for a while now, Miss Allie Day. She is an Emerald Ambassador under Jill Renfro, and you guys know I love Jill Renfro because we channel her a lot in our business. Allie, I pick on Jill all the time because when people are struggling in this, we always just channel Jill Renfro. So, and we try to get her a little Texas sass out. But
I love that.
yes, she cracks up. I like to embarrass her with that. But Allie is a rock star on Jill's team, and they're power partners. Allie, I watch her all the time when she's doing this. She has so much passion. She has so much heart behind it. She has so much drive and determination. So, guys, we're going to be channeling Allie Day too after tonight. So I am so excited you guys get to hear her. And Allie girl, just take it away. If you could just share your story and just your tips to success and how you were able to do it in this business, that would be awesome.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that sweet introduction too. And guys, I'm actually sitting in my car. It's kind of funny. My husband and I are in this weird place. He actually got a job in another town. We haven't sold our house yet, so we're just a hot mess. So we were like going to go to dinner tonight. And I was like, oh, I got to do a call. Well, we don't have Wi-Fi where he's living. And so like, well, I'd be in the car anyway, so might as well just go to dinner and step out. Like, so sorry, y'all are getting the nice little Lexus yellow light on my face over here. But hey, you know, it's part of the gig. That's fun time freedom here. And you can hop on and work whenever. So that's fun. Anyway, so grateful that y'all have me on the call tonight. I feel really honored. A little bit about me, a little bit about my story. I was a school teacher, taught fourth grade, well, third, fourth, and fifth. And I was tired. I was struggling with a lot of anxiety. I was having a hard time being around people. It was like a lot of social anxiety. And I had realized I wasn't being healthy. So I had started working out and eating clean and all of that, and just doing it, you know, the way you're supposed to or whatever. And so when I heard about Plexus, I heard about the gut health. I heard, okay, gut health is tied to mental health or brain health. And so this could help with your anxiety. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to see. And right away I had the energy. I felt so, I just felt that pep in this step, you guys know. And so I started sharing it. A lot of people don't know this part of my story. It's kind of different. So I started sharing 4 days in. I went ahead and signed up as an ambassador to get the wholesale pricing, started sharing because I just loved the energy. That was summer. That was July. When school started in August, I did not have, I guess, the capacity to do both, to do Plexus and teaching. I just didn't want to as an excuse. I'm gonna be honest. I was very nervous. The anxiety was still there. I was still worried about what other people thought of me. I worried about people checking my Facebook and thinking I was just this Plexus pusher and like didn't care about anything else. I got very self-conscious to the point where I stopped sharing. I kept taking the products, kept loving the products. But school got too much, and I just decided, no, this isn't for me. I'm going to take the products, but I'm not trying to have a business. Like I don't want to deal with all that. But I will say my first paycheck was pretty great. So I don't know what was wrong with me. My fear was too high. And so it took me that was July to August. It took me until December to decide to start sharing again. And that is, I will say, like later on my tips, like that is one of the things I wish if I could go back. I wish I would have just kept sharing. But all in God's time, he had a plan for sure. He was working on my heart during that time. And I just really became convicted. The products helped me so much. So much of my anxiety was more under control. And so I just felt very convicted come December when I was feeling so good. I was like, people struggle just like me. There are people just like me who are these silent sufferers. Nobody even knows that they're struggling, and they need to know that there's another option. Even if they don't feel like Plexus is for them, if I don't tell them, I'm doing them a disservice. So I just felt very passionate about sharing, and that's just what I did. I didn't want a business. I wasn't going in to make money. It was just purely about helping people. And I think my mindset was so much better. And that's why from there, I never quit. I never stopped after that. I always kept sharing. I've been sharing ever since. My business has just blossomed. I've been so blessed by the people that God's put in my life. I have several people on my team who've struggled with anxiety, depression, and it's been amazing that just to be able to have that like camaraderie and to be able to bring people hope that's just it's such a really cool way that God has been using my story. So that's kind of my personal testimony, right? So my business story, that December is when I felt very convicted, but I didn't even go to Super Saturday that January. I wasn't like committed to the business. I was just committed to like sharing, but I really committed to my business that January, went silver. So that was January 2015, and I went emerald in May 2016. So it was like, whew, I feel like it was fast and furious. I know some people's journeys are shorter, some people's journeys are longer, but there was a whole lot packed in for us. Just personally, we bought a house. We moved to a different town, I guess I should say. I started teaching, then I quit teaching. So that was kind of a crazy story, totally a God thing, but I started working in corporate America, then stopped working in corporate America, then went full-time Plexus. Then my husband got a new job. Now we're moving again. So it's just like crazy. My life is just crazy. So I don't have kids, but I will say I know the crazy. And there's been a lot of times where I feel like if I didn't know my why, if I didn't know that these products are meant to help people and that people need it, I would have quit. I do believe that. If I wasn't really grounded in my why and knowing why I'm doing what I'm doing. So that's really my story. I don't know if I'm like, I'm thinking, I hope I didn't skip anything. But that's my story. I definitely was someone who I worked full time until I was Ruby. No, I'm sorry, senior Ruby. I was senior Ruby. And I didn't really mean to quit. It was kind of a life circumstance. It kind of had to. But I definitely think this business is something that anybody and everyone can do. It's just finding the nooks and crannies of your life. So I guess it's kind of like segueing into those tips. But especially when I was teaching, I woke up an hour earlier to work my business. I did not sit with people at lunch. I went into my room and I shut the door and I did Plexus. During my conference periods that I did have a little bit of time, if I didn't have a meeting or something, or I didn't need to make copies or whatever. I mean, I feel like teacher life, you always have something you have to do. But if I could do my business for a few minutes, I would. I would stay up later. I'm not going to lie. There were times when I was getting 4 and 5 hours of sleep. I would wake up early on Saturday mornings, but I knew what this could mean for my family. I knew that instead of being the teacher, I could be the homer mom. I knew that this for our family meant that my husband wouldn't have to carry the burden of covering all of our bills if I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I knew that it meant getting out of debt. I knew that it meant being able to help some family that was struggling. I just was very aware of my why. Another thing I would say is really focusing in on your time that you do have. I think a lot of us feel frustrated. We feel like we're constantly on our phones. We're not, maybe our husbands or spouses or our kids are getting frustrated with how much time we're spending on our phones. I think what's really, really important is being strategic about what you're doing on your phone when you're on your phone. And this is something like me and my husband he's always been super supportive and very blessed in that. But I really have to audit my time. I have to ask myself, okay, am I really being productive when I'm on my phone, when I'm doing what I'm doing, when I'm taking time away from my family? And guys, I'm gonna be honest, sometimes the answer is no. Sometimes I am just scrolling or creeping or doing something that's not productive. And so I really had to start really auditing my time. And every time that I'm catching myself doing something that's not productive, it might not even be bad, it's just not productive, I have to ask myself, is this time worth, like, do I really want to spend my time doing this away from, and it's taking away from XYZ that I would rather be doing? And the answer is always no, right? I'm like, who really wants to scroll on Facebook more than they want to like watch a movie with their family? Like, and so really making your power hour something that is productive every time. And so for me, what that looks like, I have multiple power hours, but the one that's focused on my IPA, my personal activity, I feel like is the one that I will not, like, it is a have to, must do every single day. And what it looks like is I spend about 15 minutes looking at my posts, my personal posts, thinking about posts I want to make, maybe even making a post depending on what time of day it is, but really thinking about who, like today I spent some time with some girls on my team. Well, that was kind of geared toward, it was more like I made a comment about my accidental job got me some really great friends. So it's kind of that spin. So my next, post, I don't know that I want it to be about my friends in Plexus. I mean, it totally could be, but I maybe need to gear toward maybe the business side of Plexus, or maybe a product, or, just making sure that I'm keeping that variety. If y'all are familiar with the color personalities, I try to think about making my posts, kind of diverse in the colors. But I really focus in on my posting, because that is a huge way that is the way that I've built my business. And I mean, I went emerald basically by sharing on Facebook. I didn't do a whole lot outside of Facebook. I'm working toward, having more opportunity meetings and doing things. And I definitely did before, but not every month even. We've done some online ones, maybe one or two every, I don't know, probably 6 weeks or so. Like we do them frequently, but it wasn't a huge thing. I really, a lot of it was posting based. So I think that's super important. Then I do about 25 minutes of reaching out to brand new people in my life. So not in my life necessarily, but people I've not ever talked to about Plexus. And I might not even message them about Plexus. I might just be reconnecting with them because I haven't talked to them since high school. It might be someone who I was never really close with. So I might send them something about Plexus. I might just reach out to them and tell them that this is something that is heavy on my heart, that I think it could help anyone, and do they know someone. I might, if I meet somebody out and about and we friended each other on Facebook, I might go ahead and send them a message to just tell them that I really enjoy talking with them, something like that. I spend 25 minutes doing that every day. And then I spend about 5 minutes updating my list. So if I'm following up or whatever, or when I'm messaging these people, I'm adding them to my list and I'm making sure I have notes of the last time that I reached out to them. Then I spend about, I'm like trying to add up my time. I know it's about maybe 10, 15 minutes. I'm not doing the math in my head, but somewhere between 10 and 15 minutes following up with prospects. So these are just people who are interested in Plexus, who I need to maybe send a sample to. I need to offer them an incentive. I need to invite them to an event, something to get them off the fence, right? They're interested, but we're just not there yet. We haven't made it happen yet. And then whatever time remaining, I am following up with my already existing customers and wholesale ambassadors that I treat as customers, and making sure that I'm spending time treating them like with good customer service. So it can mean following up and just asking them if they have any victories that we can celebrate, or any issues we need to troubleshoot. Or if they're like straight up not responding, because we have people who do that, right? They get on the products and they stop responding. I take that as a sign that something's going wrong. So I message them that. I said, hey, I've followed up with you a few times. Maybe you're busy, but I'm kind of taking this as a sign that things aren't going well. And I want to let you know that it's totally normal to troubleshoot, and you're not going to hurt my feelings if something isn't 100% perfect for you. I want to help you. That's what I'm here for. So please, please, please let me know what's going on. And typically they respond and it's something we need to troubleshoot something. And so I think that's a huge part of just giving good customer service. So that's what my main power hour looks like. That's like a non-negotiable for me in my business. I definitely would say if you have a team, you probably need to add in, your people who are working the business. You need to be checking in on them, seeing if there's anything that you can do to help them. One of the things that I like to do weekly with any of my runners that are really, really working toward, growing their businesses, I like to check in with them once a week and ask them what their priority is for the week, and then ask them how I can help them. So that really gives me this idea of what they're looking at, what their forecast is for the week. It keeps them focused on smaller goals that, help us get to that big goal that they have, but then also letting them know that I'm always there to help. And so if it might be something like they're like, gosh, I keep following up but I just cannot seal a deal, I'm like, okay, let's get some three-way chats scheduled, or let's get some three-way calls going, because I want to help you be able to seal the deal. Something's going on in that process. If you're feeling like things are going well and then there's a point at which it's cutting off, maybe I can help. So just being really available and there for my team. Another thing that I would say, I'm like checking on the time. Another thing that I would say is just really being self-aware. And if something isn't working, kind of like I'm saying with the example of someone on my team saying, hey, I can't seal the deal, just being okay with learning and saying, hey, this isn't working, or I'm doing this. Maybe my posting isn't getting very much activity. I'm not getting customers out of it. I'm not getting ambassadors out of it. Nobody's reaching out to me. I need to change something. And knowing that it's not because you stink or you're bad at this or this isn't for you, but just knowing that this is a whole lot of trial and error. This is you figuring out what works best for you, because what works for me might not work exactly perfect for you. And that's okay, because we're different people. Your audience is expecting something different from you than my audience is expecting from me. And so just being very self-aware and knowing that it's okay to have trial and error. I don't know how many times I've tried something new with this business and it flopped, and I was like, scratch that, throw that away, let's try something else. And it comes down to things like even my posting. I post very different than I did in the beginning. Some of the little, when it pops up like a year ago, it shows you things, or 2 years ago or whatever, when it shows you things you were posting, I was like, oh man, that was bad. But it's okay. You live, you learn. Even things like just how to seal a deal, just different things in the conversation with people. I'm like, oh gosh, I used to say that to people, or I used to send them this like really, really long text message about the triplex. I don't do that anymore. So it's just, you live, you learn. So just being really okay with forgiving yourself and showing yourself grace, and just being very self-aware, and always just learning from other people. Anytime you can hop on a training, or anytime you can watch a training video and get one little takeaway, just take one thing away. Don't be overwhelmed. Just take one thing and say, okay, I'm going to implement that in my business right now. I'm going to give it some time and to see if it works for me. And if it doesn't, it's okay. We can try something else, but really just, I feel like self-awareness is huge in this business, and being willing to always just learn and to just change up what you're doing so that you can keep growing and keeping successful. So those are probably my top tips for sure. Do you guys, I don't know if you guys usually open up for questions, or if you have anything specific you want me to cover, go over.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, like, I love the IPAs. We have been talking about IPAs so much lately, and just the importance of doing something every single day. We're not trying to recreate the wheel here. There are just those daily things of sharing on Facebook, reaching out to people, growing your network of people, and following up with people. That's really it. No matter what phase in this business you're at, it's those daily activities that are going to get you there, and the consistency with that. And can you just talk, I guess, a little bit about just the ups and downs of this business, and especially you, somebody who has had to work while they're trying to grow their business and trying to fit something like this into that hectic schedule? I mean, whether you have kids or you don't have kids and you're working, life is crazy, and just trying to fit this into the schedule, and I mean, the ups and downs of life, and the emotional roller coaster that this can be, just the importance of continuing to do this and to focus on it daily. Like, I don't know if you can anything to that, because I've been home. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I homeschool, so to me, that's a full-time job.
Right.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
But just speaking a little bit, working all this into that.
Yeah. I'm so, okay. I don't know if y'all are yellow. I mean, color personality people, but I'm so a yellow. So I'll be honest. I have a really, really hard time sometimes just like shooting people straight, not because I don't love them, but because I don't want to hurt their feelings. Right. So I'm like, oh, they're a little tender hearted. I don't want to hurt their feelings. But I'll be honest. I feel like this is one of those topics that I kind of have to like give some tough love. Right. I think that what it comes down to is you either view things as something that's getting in your way, so it becomes an excuse, or it's a challenge that you have to overcome. I think that's it, because all of us have life. We all have junk. We all have craziness happening. I know someone who her son was diagnosed with leukemia. It's horrible, right? I know someone who her husband was in a car accident and had a limb amputated. I know someone who lost her husband. I know someone who's a single mom. Her kid's son is in jail. Like, life is happening to people, and it's hard. And I don't want to downplay that at all, ever. But I think it really comes down to like, how bad do you want this, and what does it mean for your family? And I think a big part of trekking along and keeping on, even when it's hard, even when you don't want to, is knowing your why, and your family also being in on it. Like, they're your shareholders. I don't know if you guys have heard that. It's a Carrie Wilkerson kind of saying, and she says, like, you're not an island. You're not alone in this. You're the business owner, but you have shareholders, and that's your family. And so when they know what you're working toward, and you know what you're working toward, it makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference. And so I remember feeling so frustrated in my job. I loved teaching. I loved kids. But I remember feeling so frustrated with like the time I didn't have for anyone else, and not even for myself. And I was so overwhelmed. I'd always worked 2 jobs because you don't get compensated very well. And I just remember feeling like I am too young to build this worn down from my job. Like, it's ridiculous. And I'm only 25 right now. So that was even, I was even younger than I am right now. And I just remember thinking, like, I'm never going to get to be with my kids? How am I ever going to be like mentally okay enough to have children at this point? Like I was really in that place in my life. And that was the driving factor, is I was like, I want to live my life and I want to be a mom that's present. I want to be available. Like that's what I want. And so even on the days that I wanted to cry and throw the phone across the room because I'm so frustrated with my life, like I had to sit down and I had to do it. It's all about discipline. It's all about like, you have to want it more than your excuses. You have to want it more than the hard things in your life. And that doesn't mean that some days you put it down because you just can't, but it can't be 2 days in a row. It can't be 3 days in a row. It can't be 7 days in a row. It can't. Because the thing is, you show up at your normal day job every day. You know, you have to, and you're working for somebody else, right? You show up every day, even when you probably feel like junk. I don't know how many times I went to school as a teacher feeling like awful because I didn't want to write the sub plans and I knew it was going to be more pain to not be there than to be there. So I just showed up. If I'm willing to do that for someone else, for the man, I should be willing to do that for me, in my family, in my dreams, in my goals, and for what we want in our future. And so I think just remembering that every time, just sitting back and saying, okay, do I want this and how bad do I want it? And sometimes people don't want it. And I think as leaders, sometimes we get frustrated when people don't want it as bad as us, but maybe they don't have the same goals we do, and that's okay too. But I think something that I've learned is just being willing to say to someone when they are having those excuses, I understand, but I really want to help you with this and help you overcome it, so that it's not an excuse, it's just a challenge. Like if it's a challenge, it's something that can be overcome. But if you're not willing to do something, if you're not willing to take action, it's just an excuse. And that's okay. I love you either way, but I can't help you with an excuse. I can help you with a challenge. And so it just being the kind of leader that's willing to help them overcome it if they want. And if they don't, then it's okay too. Let them do what they need to do. There's people like me who come back around. No, but there's some people who they don't have the why yet, and that's okay. And maybe it's not for them right now. I don't like to say maybe it's not for them, period, because I do believe that Plexus has such this amazing opportunity to give people leverage in their lives. Like maybe you don't want to be a Plexus ambassador for the rest of your life, or for that's not your like dream job. But it could give your family leverage. It could give your family this ability to do things, and to maybe your husband to start that business he's always wanted to, or you to start that business that you've always wanted to, or your kids to go to that college that they've been dreaming of but you just couldn't afford. Like it can really be something amazing for your family, even if being a Plexus ambassador isn't your dream job. So I feel like I just got on a soapbox. Sorry, y'all.
It's so okay. We love soapboxes.
I feel very passionate about that, so I just kept going.
So another big part of this, which this is a big thing we've been covering lately, is obviously reaching out to people, sharing with people in your network about this. And, not just posting on Facebook, but actually reaching out to them and telling them about this. So you can only reach out to your warm market for so long. We only have so many people in our close circle of people. So big thing our team has been doing, I don't know if you've seen it floating around, the daily action stack sheet.
Yes, I have.
Yeah. So we have been doing that. A lot of us have been doing that. It's been super successful. And so a big part of that is sending out friend requests to people every day, sending out new friend requests. And so I don't know if you have a way that you reach out to people that maybe you don't personally know, like you only know them via Facebook. And so I have a lot of friends on Facebook that I've sent friend requests to, but I've never like actually met them face to face. So I don't know if you can just speak a little bit to how you, I guess for lack of a better word, like cold message people.
Yeah. So how, I'm just curious, I just know some teams do a little differently. So are these people, like in mom groups, like do you guys have any commonality?
Mutual friends. I mean, there's all kinds. All of us have different people that we've sent friend requests to, but I'm more thinking like cold messages, so people maybe you don't personally know, but you both have tons of friends in common. Does that make sense?
Okay, so I'll be honest, that's a tough one for me because I'm not a huge cold contact person. I'm very much about a relationship. So the way that I have approached many of those that have happened, like when I have mutual friends with someone and when we're friends and I'm not really sure how we became friends, or I know that I friended them, but I'm like, why did I friend them? And I'm not sure who this person is or whatever, is I just send them a message and I'm like, hey, we have all these friends in common. Do we go to high school together? Like I try to figure out if I actually met them. Well, in this case, you guys know that you don't know them. So maybe skip that step. And I would honestly, I'm really big on relationship. It takes a little bit longer, but I'm really big on like building a relationship with someone. So I might message them and be like, hey, we have all these friends in common. Looks like maybe went to the same high school, but at different times, or we're from the same town. I would try to like start a connection with someone. I do think that's tough because I know I have people message me or have messaged me in the past and just message me about the product they're selling. And I'm not going to lie, I was turned off by it. So maybe I'm a bad person to ask about that. But for me, it's a lot about the relationship. And I actually had someone just join my team a couple of days ago under me who I don't know how we got to be friends on Facebook. I'm pretty sure I friended her because I thought I knew her, but then I didn't. And it was that I just messaged her and I said, hey, like, I'm super embarrassed to say this, but I'm not sure how we know each other. Like, have we ever met? We both realized we've never met. And we ended up starting up a conversation. I'm like, where are you from? Like, we have all these people in common. How did we never meet? Right. And so like, where are you from? What do you do? And I asked her like probably 50 questions and she didn't really reciprocate, but she kept answering the questions. Right. So it's kind of funny. She wanted to talk. Like, I don't know why, but then she ended up asking me like, okay, so you used to teach? Yes. Okay. So why don't you anymore? Perfect segue into Plexus, right? And I was very careful. I was like, I don't want to throw out Plexus all over you. This is just, this is what I do. This is why I do it. And I loved it. She was like, no, definitely tell me more. So I definitely think there's a way to do it. I've been very fortunate that my warm market has not run out yet. So I haven't had to do the cold messaging. So I'm sorry. I feel like I'm probably not the best person to ask because I don't have a lot of experience with it.
Well, no, and that's a good thing, like, for people to remember. So many times, we forget it is about the relationship, and we all have our lists of people, and we do our IPAs, and we keep thinking of people as that next name on our list that we need to reach out to about Plexus. And we forget that it's not always about Plexus. Like, network marketing is relationship marketing. And so it's about the relationships. And so your IPAs that day of reaching out to 5 new people, that does not mean reach out to 5 new people about Plexus. It's
Right.
something about Plexus, but that's even relationship building and remembering, reach out to people just because you want to reconnect with them. And a lot of times rebuilding that relationship and developing new relationships with people that you don't know, that is your way of at some point being able to share this with them in the right way. So no, I love that. I mean, I love hearing everybody's different take on this. Some people are all about like, let's lead with Plexus and this is how, and others it's about relationship, and we're all so different.
Right.
And not one thing works perfectly for every single person. And
Absolutely.
we need to remember, just because one thing doesn't work for us doesn't mean this isn't for us. We're all just so different in this. So, and guys, Ally's so awesome because I didn't tell her any of these questions that I was going to ask her. I just totally throw them at her and make her fly by the seat of her pants. So,
yeah, so fun.
Yes, you're so cute. So we are reaching our 30 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording because I want everybody to be able to get back to their night, and half my house is asleep. And then my son is totally like at this door waiting for me to get off the call. So I'm so glad you guys got on here tonight. Hang on just a second. Let me stop the recording.